UFP, the United Federation of Podcasts.
Engage.
78 years have passed since the days of the original USS Enterprise. Now a new Galaxy starship has been designed.
Transporter Chief, beam our listeners aboard. Welcome to Galaxy Class, a Star Trek Next Generation podcast on the United Federation of Podcasts Network. I am Counselor Amy Nelson, and with me is Chief Recreational Officer Ria Papagiorgio and Security Chief Pierre LaRocco. Hello, Pierre.
Hello.
It's been a hot minute. How are you?
It has. I've been doing well. Just a little busy couple weekends. My wife was working one weekend, had to take care of the kids. But I'm back now, and excited to be back.
Yeah, and we haven't spoken since school started for you. So how's that going?
It's going well. We're all virtual right now, but we're figuring out plans to be able to bring kids back in the building. So it's good.
Oh, when?
How about you, Amy?
When is that going to happen? Do you think that's going to happen this year?
I don't know.
Yeah.
How are you guys doing, Amy, in school?
Good. We are also all virtual, and we will be virtual for sure until December, winter break. And then they will decide if we're coming back in January or not. So it's definitely a learning curve for sure.
Get it? Because you guys are in schools.
Ria,
wow,
how
that's
are you?
Crazy. I'm great. I am wonderful. Still on full-time telework, so I could not be any happier about that. The schools here are not virtual. I think they're doing like a hybrid thing.
Mm-hmm.
But man, it's just so grateful that I have nothing to do with that. God bless you guys. That's wow. Wow.
I have a lot of friends and obviously teacher friends whose, kids are either elementary age or like their own children. And I just feel for those elementary kids. I'm hearing horror stories and it's tough. It's I think easier for high schooler kids to be online than those little ones. Oh, my heart goes out to all elementary teachers and parents who have elementary aged kids that are, doing school virtually. It's tough.
Yeah. And even if they're in the classroom, how do you keep a mask on a 7-year-old?
Yeah. Oh.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Mask dripping with snot.
So, listeners, Ria and I have some very exciting news, and we hope that you will join us on the Star Trek cruise in 2022. Oh, yeah. This is going to be so much fun. I had such an amazing time in March, and Ria wanted to go, and I was like, let's do it.
Yes. Yeah, Amy had such an amazing time in March that I booked tickets for the cruise 2021 in March, and the next day COVID hit. So now it's 2022, but never been on a cruise before. So excited.
Yeah. So listeners, join us, StarTrekCruise.com, get a room and come enjoy and have fun with us because I'm very, very excited. I'm actually really glad that it bumped a year out because I didn't feel comfortable going 2 years in a row and missing that much school. But I think I'm going to be okay if I have, that buffer of a year.
Mm-hmm. And who knows, maybe everything will be virtual for life by then.
Yeah.
And you can teach from the, the poop deck or whatever. I don't know.
From the pool deck.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I'm sort of really looking forward to it. And I just can't wait. We are splurging a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Bumped up to a nicer room.
So does that mean your room actually has a window?
We're getting a balcony.
Yeah,
Ooh.
a balcony. Like, I don't even know. This is going to just ruin cruises for me for life,
Yeah.
Going in style.
The themed cruises are so much fun. So, yeah, it's just going to be with our people. And we decided because Rhea and I had planned to go to a destination in London this year, but of course it got canceled. And so we're like, okay, we're going to pool our money and just save it for the cruise.
Amen.
Have they announced what actors will be on the cruise?
Oh, yeah, they've got quite a few. I would have to look online, but all your regulars.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I don't think I've ever planned anything this far ahead before in my life. So
That's funny.
a year and a half of anticipation, it's going to be wild.
So listeners, let us know if you are also going to be going on the cruise with us. We'd love to have you. And you know me, I like taking lists and talking people into coming to STLV. And now I'm going to be doing that for the cruise.
Amy Nelson, chief bad influence officer. How about that?
Yeah. Well, let's check the communication array to see if we have any comments from our listeners.
Incoming transmission.
Well, we do. And Pierre, why don't you start us off?
Sure. So from episode 6, Quality Check, the highs and lows in season 2, we have a wonderful comment from Chrissie De Clerck-Szilagyi. And her comment is, Kevin, I love the idea of your story. Which doctor were you with? And Kevin Scharf answers, at the time, I believe we were just a bit behind the UK on Doctor Hugh releases. So it would have been the 6th Doctor.
And that was in reference to the story that Kevin had written as a kid about going on board the Enterprise with Doctor Who.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Which we are anxiously awaiting him to publish that.
Yeah. I have not seen one episode of Doctor Who.
Me
I
either.
have not either.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
3 Doctor Who virgins.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Well, we also have Greg Molumby writes, you were talking about American Gladiators on the show this week. If you have Pluto TV, they have an American Gladiators channel. I do still watch it from time to time. I actually love the love you gave to Shades of Grey. The only reason people don't like that episode was because it was a clip show. But I thought this was Pulaski's finest hour. I love watching doctors be doctors, which is something I want to see more of in Culber. Episodes like Shades of Grey, Ethics, and episodes of DS9 I watched last night, The Quickening, show the dedication the doctors have to their profession and really wanting to help cure people. The other day we were talking about McCoy being a racist, and I mentioned that his racism was one of the reasons why I didn't hold him as high as others do. Well, another reason is we really didn't see much doctoring from McCoy, at least like we saw from Bashir, Pulaski, the Doctor, or Phlox. Well, thank you so much, Greg, for your comments. And I love Shades of Grey. I think it's a great show. I love looking back on a season, and that's exactly what a clip show does. And I have to agree with you. Pulaski does some amazing work. And then I also like the relationship with Troy and Riker and how she is supporting him and helping Riker during his very painful and traumatic times. So, yeah, Shades of Grey. It's a good one for me.
Hey, I like the third of an episode that it is. So, and I'm going to have to sign up for Pluto TV because
I'm hearing
American Gladiators.
Yeah.
That takes me back.
Right? I totally remember that. Gosh, what did that come out in the 90s? Something.
Late 80s, early
Yeah.
90s, something like that.
And I found in my attic a couple of weeks ago American Gladiator action figures.
Oh my gosh.
Who did you have?
Turbo,
Yes.
Zap,
Oh my gosh.
Laser,
Oh, I remember these names. Oh my gosh.
Me too.
And Viper, I think.
Oh.
Hello, cosplay. How awesome would that be? Also related to episode 6, Chris Hill writes, Joe, so you're talking about store brand Han Solo, huh? Lol, just kidding. He was pretty fun. And that was in reference to the Outrageous Arcana.
Oh, yes. Oh, fun, fun, fun. The store brand Han Solo, I don't know what that is in reference to.
I might have to go back and re-listen to that episode. I was there, but I don't remember.
From episode 7, William T. Riker profile, Casey Pettit comments, Pierre, he's the one who will sit on a torpedo trigger. Rhea, is that an innuendo? Lots of crying with laughter faces, and he says, literally, I was thinking that too.
All right,
Great
guys.
minds think alike, sick minds think alike. And it turns out that I actually had seen that meme before, and I have actually shared that meme before. I just couldn't remember it at the time.
Oh my goodness, you guys having too much fun over there.
We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, we
recording
did.
that episode.
This is the captain. Senior officers will report to my ready room immediately.
So listeners, we are going to start our What If series. This will be part 1 for Galaxy class. We did start it on our last show on the other network. So we're going to continue that, and this will be part 1. And we just love thinking about what ifs, and we love when listeners tell us, well, what if this? What if this? So let us know any scenarios that you would like to hear us discuss. And today, I want to know, way back in season 1 with Justice, what if Wesley was permanently imprisoned and then killed by the Edo? Dun, dun, dun. I mean, that's season 1. That's going to have some major ramifications. And I just watched The Game with our wonderful Robin Leffler, played by Ashley Judd. And sadly, that episode would not take place.
You're right. And actually, that season would not have taken place, neither would have the seasons before, because if Wesley had been killed by the Edo, well, for one thing, you'd have some definite emotional turmoil with both Dr. Crusher and Picard, of course. But it wouldn't matter because the Enterprise would have been destroyed about 10 or 12 times. The galaxy would have been destroyed, all because Wesley wasn't there. So
I totally forgot, yes, how many times Wesley saves the ship.
So it wouldn't have happened. Wesley wouldn't have been killed by the Edo. And the reason I know this for a fact is because the Traveler would have saved him.
Ah.
And the reason why I know the Traveler would have saved him is because the Traveler is Jack Crusher.
Ooh.
Dropping some pearls of wisdom here.
Yeah.
So the Traveler took the form of Jack Crusher because he wanted to experience humanity. And then, when Jack Crusher was about to die, he zapped himself into some other realm or whatever the Traveler does. And Beverly knew this from the beginning. That's why no one found it creepy when the Traveler came and was talking about how special of a boy Wesley was.
Mind blown. Yeah, that's why Wesley's so special, because he's part Traveler. He's like Cisco in Deep Space Nine, he's half prophet. Mind blown. Wow, like so many things make sense now in life and in the world and in the universe.
So, Pierre, if Wesley wasn't killed, what did the Traveler ascend him?
So he would have had to, yes.
Okay.
He would have had to ascend him out of that. So he would have joined the Traveler a lot earlier. And the Enterprise would have been different. You're right, because Rhea's right. He saved the day a lot, so they would have to find another boy prodigy.
I think with this happening in season 1, if this did, it would make a little more sense why Beverly wasn't on season 2. She was mourning, wanting a change to not be on the Enterprise because there was too much pain for her. So it would sort of fit into her not being on season 2.
And then I wonder, would the two travelers then intervene with the Enterprise from that point on, to save it all the times that Wesley would have? Ooh, and then at some point, would you end up with like Traveler/Q showdowns where Q starts wreaking havoc and then the two travelers show up and they're like, not with my mama on the ship. And
that's right.
That would have been perfect.
Yes, because I was thinking that exactly. Because remember when Amanda found her Q powers and she, was like, no, I'm going to be human, but she can't help but interfere. And that would be the same thing with Wesley. And so it would sort of be him trying to learn how to be a traveler, but still interfering and could save the Enterprise time and time again.
Okay, so the traveler became Jack Crusher to experience, corporeal life, blah, blah, blah. What about the child? Deanna's child.
Yes, Ian.
Was Ian from the same traveler world?
Ooh.
I don't know. Wasn't the traveler was always some sort of physical being, right? Like he didn't become an energy force.
No, but I think that's how he moved. That's how he traveled, was becoming an energy source. And think about Remember Me and the dimension and stuff like that. That was caused by the traveler of trying to expand this corporeal, as you said, life and trying to get it to turn into energy and time and stuff like that.
And he could phase in and out when he was communing with the warp drive.
But I don't know.
I like this.
Is Ian a traveler as well?
I like this. They're a whole, and I mean, are they subspace beings? Are they any relation to species 8476 or whatever from Voyager?
Ooh.
Pierre, where did you come up with this idea that Jack Crusher was actually the traveler?
I just kind of came up with it.
That's just effing brilliant.
I don't know if I like thinking about them as transdimensional because in Schisms, those transdimensional beings were curious, but not always on the up and up with how to treat other dimensional people.
Well, not all transdimensional aliens are bad.
Okay, that's true. That's true.
Not all cops are bad.
Ooh.
Let's not get political, Rhea. That's what Star Trek's about. You know what? One of these days I'm going to start a podcast called Taboo Treks and just talk about taboo things.
Oh my gosh.
It's been mulling over in my mind for a while.
Wow. New podcast on UFP. Watch out.
We'll see.
But yeah, so I mean, it always bothered me that Wesley had this special relationship with the Traveler, and no one seemed to really care. No, there were never alarms or anything, and that kind of when I developed this theory about the Traveler being Jack Crusher.
Nice, and it always kind of bothered me that Wesley was just some super special wonderkind. Why? He's just some human. Why? What made him so special? So, yeah, that resolves that from me and my headcanon.
Yeah, and they treated Wesley like he was more special than they even did with Bashir, who was genetically more superior and quote unquote special. And so it's interesting how that got played out. But I think if Wesley did want to, experience humanity, as we see so much in Trek, that it would make sense that everyone just sort of treated him normal.
Well, I like it.
Yes.
That's canon as far as I'm concerned now.
Yep. And it just sort of ties up everything with Journey's End. I mean, of course,
Yep.
But...
And then why is Wesley back on the bridge for, which one is it? Where Troy and
Nemesis.
Riker get married? Nemesis. That's right. Amy's favorite film.
Yes.
Well, he just traveled back and
Exactly.
makes perfect sense.
Totally makes sense. Awesome. All right. My second what if, and I think this is going to be a fun discussion. What if Hugh stays on board the Enterprise and didn't return to the Borg Collective, spreading the idea of individualism from Borg?
Can I start?
Yes.
With this one. Okay, so I always had problems with the end of Borg, and my problems was it. So they were able to deborg Picard, right? I don't get why they weren't able to deborg Hugh. And I get how Hugh's like, they'll never stop looking for me, but that never became an issue with Picard, right? So you either have two things. Either they know where Picard always is, right, because he's former Borg, and they don't care enough to go get him, or they can't figure out where he is. So aren't they the same two like scenarios for Hugh?
Well, I didn't think that with Hugh, like his transponder, whatever that's communicating, like I thought that there was some kind of force field so that they couldn't locate Hugh. Am I thinking that wrong? And I thought that was the same with Picard, like when they deborged him, that they were able to remove that transponder or deactivate.
I was always under the impression that Picard wasn't assimilated long enough to have all of the various, I don't know,
that makes sense too.
That Hugh had.
Okay, I can buy that.
Yeah.
And he was also drafted, so to speak, assimilated as a spokesperson versus Hugh, who was just another drone.
So, but with Picard, they blew up the one Borg cube. So that's why I assumed if we look at sort of the collective as just one cube, then that's why they weren't looking for him, because that cube was blown up.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
So, but with Hugh, with that different cube, then that's why I assumed that there was some kind of force field that was stopping his transponder from communicating with his cube. I don't know. My headcanon, you know?
Yeah. I'm like thinking deep here.
But if Hugh didn't return, then we wouldn't have the uprising that saves the day when Lore goes back and, you know, tries to get what would you say, an uprising with those Borgs, because they were all confused and didn't have a leader, and that got Lore to step in and sort of be big dog there. So we wouldn't, what's the name? Descent. So we wouldn't have Descent.
Which is a great two-parter.
And I think we would have it, but in a different form. So if Hugh were able to stay on board the Enterprise, actually, I think we would have had a 7 of 9 situation and had like the male version of the 7 Janeway relationship with Hugh and Picard, or Hugh and Geordi for sure. But with Descent, what I think would happen would be Lore would find another, ship full of leaderless people to kind of take advantage of. And I think he'd find Pakleds. And so we'd have the return of the Pakleds and a whole like Pakled army with stolen technology.
Your favorite species.
I identify with the Pakleds in more ways than I should.
That is beautiful to think about Hugh having that amazing relationship like Seven and Janeway have. And you're right. I could totally see Hugh and Geordi getting this really awesome friendship. And I think we would see Hugh as we see him in Picard, like trying to rehabilitate and, any Borg that they come across, like, let's see if we can, deborg them, as you say, Pierre.
And I think we'd have Hugh actually teaching Geordi how to pick up women. I also think
he needs help in that area.
Yeah. I also think that Hugh would look better than he did in Picard because he wouldn't be reliant on, Romulan technology or anything like that. The Federation, especially in the TNG era, it's all about looking good. And, boy, they made Seven look nice. So I think he would have had a little more cosmetic surgery, done. And I wonder, too, to delve into Picard land, would he become the head of the Borg Reclamation Project?
Yeah, I think exactly that we would have seen, a larger role of reclaiming the Borg. And that would have been amazing to see in TNG. And how would that have affected the movie First Contact? Do you think it would have any ramifications there?
Interesting, because I think it would be a matter of, it would take a long time, I think, for the Federation to agree to any kind of Borg reclamation project. Because, I think if Hugh stayed aboard the Enterprise, especially with his alliance with Captain Picard, I think that Borg reclamation would have been a Federation function, not a Romulan function. But the Borg were still this fearsome and terrifying enemy. In fact, I was in a conversation with my Uncle Mike the last few days, who's a big Star Trek fan, a lifelong Star Trek fan, and a World War II historian, and that kind of thing. And he still cannot justify Picard's actions in not not sending Hugh back with the virus to destroy the Borg. To quote my Uncle Mike, he said his guilt over Wolf 359 haunted him, but no mention of thought to his disastrous error over Hugh. Inter arma emin silent legis. In times of war, the law falls silent. My Uncle Mike says every life lost to the Borg from that time on was on Picard for not making the command decision, which was to destroy the Borg by sacrificing Hugh. So, given that, way of looking at things, it'd be interesting if the Federation would even approve some type of Borg reclamation project, or how many, generations or decades it would take for that to come about. Yeah, I don't know if it would even affect First Contact, because the Borg would still want to go back and assimilate Earth earlier on. I don't know.
So how about this thought? If Q stays on board, he never gives that sense of any sort of individuality to that cube, right? So that Borg cube stays a traditional Borg cube. What if they find lore, right? Because that's what happens. They find lore, or lore floats into the ship. What if lore comes in contact with them, and they're connected to the collective? And when they try to assimilate lore, they realize that he's 100% android. And they regard him as the highest form of being, and he takes the place of the Borg queen.
So I don't know if that fits in my head, because I always felt like the Borg's main mission was to take skin and bones, flesh and blood, and pair it with the technology, where Data is missing the flesh and blood part. So I don't see them as going to put him as the highest pinnacle in their world, because we even see in First Contact, the Queen is trying to add the skin, right, to make Data more like them. Yeah.
But they do also assimilate technology too. I think they would, I hadn't even thought of that, Pierre. You're really good at this what if stuff. Now we have a functioning collective cube that picks up lore. They assimilate him and his positronic net, his technology, his memories, his knowledge of the Federation and the Enterprise. And I think that would be devastating to the Federation, well, to sentient life. Yeah, it's a good thing that, there you go, Uncle Mike. There you go. So Picard sent Hugh back to do just enough damage so that cube would be knocked out of commission, so that the crazy mad dictator lore could take control of it, rather than the cube assimilating lore and then destroying, everyone in the galaxy. So there you go.
and I'm not sure, I don't know this answer, was Unimatrix Zero, was that connected to Hugh somehow?
I don't know, because that was in the Delta Quadrant.
I know, but was that moment of individuality that they felt gave them a chance to create? I don't know. I don't know if they ever said that in Voyager.
It's interesting. It probably, although it's not canon, but you could surmise that individuality started, with Borg, and that they maybe with the, trying to assimilate all these different types of humans and stuff, that it eventually built up that they could start remembering their dreams. And then that's what led to Unimatrix Zero, is remembering their past lives. Maybe with the buildup of so many, humans and other sentient life form, that it's like, oh, I remember a part, and it's starting to seep through that Borg technology.
Yeah, and I think with all the assimilation of all the species that they, that the Borg had assimilated, there had to be, I think it's human hubris again to think that only the humans can introduce this individuality. I'm sure that other species had, seeds that were planted, and it's kind of like the English language. It's a language of assimilation, and you like scoop up so many words and phrases and grammar from other languages and spellings, and there are cracks in the armor, and then you end up with English, which has no grammar or spelling or rules or makes any sense. So
there's always an exception to the rule.
Yes.
When I was thinking about First Contact, and if Hugh started this whole reclamation process, I think it would seriously damage First Contact, because that is such a vengeance, right? Stab the big whale. What's the story?
Ahab?
Yeah, Ahab. Yeah. And how Picard wants to get back at the Borg. I mean, that's such a huge crux of the story. But if we started the reclamation, and with Picard seeing all of what Hugh is doing, he might have come to terms better and sooner than in First Contact, and not held that, massive grudge against the Borg, to see all the good work of, reclaiming and deborging. I think that would have taken the bite out of the movie, because Picard would have had time to work through it, and then to turn that into a positive of helping to save other Borg.
Yeah, definitely. And earlier I was just thinking of it from a sequence of events that, the collective still would have gone back. But no, you're right, because that whole movie is, Picard and his vengeance. And then to go into Picard the series, one of the moments that I just love is when Hugh's giving him the tour on the artifact, and Picard's eyes are open, and like the I don't know if racism is the right word, but the bigotry that he held his feelings toward the Borg in that moment were softened when he saw they were the enemy, and now he sees them as, I hate to say human beings because that's so speciest. Now he saw them as beings, sentient beings.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I forgot about that moment in Picard. That would have happened sooner. Yeah.
Right. And wouldn't have been nearly as powerful.
Definitely some big impacts there. Okay, well, my third what if, and this makes me very, very sad. What if Worf died in ethics, and that doctor, performed that surgery that Worf wanted, and, he basically was dead until his secondary organs kicked in. So what if they didn't, and Worf is dead? And that is season 6, I think. Season 6. Yeah. So my first thought is that Deanna would be caretaker to Alexander. She would, of course, devote herself and raise Alexander. And I'm going to say it. She's going to do a better job than Worf did. And Alexander is going to be able to come to terms with his Klingon and human side, human nature. And I don't see Alexander going and trying to obviously please his father and join the Klingon army, and Alexander's going to be more diplomatic and like an emissary like his mother to try and reclaim that. And unfortunately, because Deanna is so focused on Alexander, that her and Riker never get together because she feels so much dedication and devotion to Alexander that she doesn't want to betray that.
See, I don't see that.
Oh, okay.
And here's why I don't see that. Because Riker and Worf were such good friends, right? I think Riker feels an obligation to help raise Alexander. That then brings Diana and Riker closer together sooner.
Oh, okay. So it wouldn't take him till the fourth movie to finally get married.
Right. Because I see it as almost like he's splitting his time. Alexander splits his time between their quarters, right? And then like Troy comes up with like some practical, like she's practical. So she's like, well, if this is just crazy, why don't we just live in one set of quarters or something like that? And then and they get together a lot sooner.
Oh, I like that way better than my what if. Okay, I'm so going with that for sure.
And then you have Alexander Riker running around.
I was in between with that because I thought they would still get together, but just at the same time. And you know what? Alexander Troy. Because
yes,
that's a pet peeve of mine is, women are not property. Anyway.
I know, but it's also a little ridiculous that he's Alexander Verzhenko.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's not Worf Verzhenko. Like I never understood why they added a last name to Alexander.
And why he doesn't have his mother's name.
Right, like...
Yeah, and especially when he joins the Klingon army or whatever it's called. Like he should take on Worf, son of Moog. He should be Alexander, son of Worf, or Alexander, son of Moog. Or
Alexander, son of Kalar.
Yeah. Or who does Worf take on the house of in DS9?
Martok.
Yeah. Why is he not Alexander, son of, or, house of Martok?
Well, because I think the reason for that is because of his broken relationship with Worf. So Worf, terrible father, sends him away again to live with his grandparents. And I think as Alexander is kind of at that point, Alexander had chosen, no, I'm not following the Klingon ways. And by taking the human last name Rozhenko, that was just kind of a declaration of, screw you, Dad, screw you. Yeah. But if Troy had raised him, if Worf had died, then Alexander would not have gone back to Earth. He would not have taken the name Rozhenko. And
yeah, I think he would have taken Kalar's house. I really think so, because him, in my opinion, in my Troy counselor role here on the Galaxy class, seeing his mother's death, like, truly affected him, and Troy would have helped him work through that, and he would have, really gleaned on to Kalar and wanted to, I feel, like, represent her and keep her memory alive in his actions. I just see that.
And I think because he had a good relationship with Loxana too.
That's right.
So I think he would have called himself, Alexander, son of the fifth house, holder of the sacred chalice of Rix, heir to the holy rings of Betazed.
Yes, I totally forgot about their relationship. He would have totally been in the Troy family. Oh my gosh, yes.
Oh, and then he would have had a little brother too when Loxana had the baby in Deep Space Nine that we never hear from again.
And he would have been a great brother. Oh, we could have seen that in DS9.
Oh, spin-off series.
Does Loxana Troy move on to the Enterprise to be with her new grandson?
Oh, that might strain Troy's relationship a little too much.
And Picard. And then you have the showdown smackdown between Dr. Crusher and Loxana fighting over Picard.
Ooh, interesting.
I don't know. Picard was so not interested. I don't know if Crusher would have seen a reason to fight her.
But Lwaxana is always saying, I know what you're thinking. That is so funny. I love that of her.
Well, yeah, if Worf had died in ethics, another consequence, well, of course, he would have never gone to Deep Space Nine and helped reconcile relations with the Klingons and married Jadzia, et cetera, et cetera. But human life on Earth would have been destroyed before it ever began, because without Worf and all good things, Picard and the USS Pasteur would never have been escorted into Klingon territory.
Yeah, to the Devron system.
That's right. So unless Wesley the Traveler intervened instead.
Who would have been next up as security chief?
Ooh. Yeah, because he took over for Tasha.
Yeah. Well, Sita Jax wasn't on board yet. And she was only an ensign.
Yeah, they would have had to.
Oh, what about Jenna? Jenna
DeSoto?
DeSoto.
That's right. Yes.
Was that Data's girlfriend?
It was.
Ah.
She's too emotional.
That's a good question.
No, I like Sito Jaxa because she came in season 5, right? Well, we saw her first in with Wesley and the accident at Starfleet Academy, and then she came back in Lower Decks. Oh, did she die?
That was season 7.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that you're right. That would have been after. You're right, Rhea.
Yeah, she would have just been a fill-in.
Yeah, interesting. I don't know who would have come up as security officer. Maybe that's when we could have got Ro in.
Or Rios from Picard.
Ooh,
let me fan myself.
Let's introduce him. Interesting. You know, and I like, Rhea, that you brought out All Good Things and Worf's role in that, because I was thinking, you know, really, if Worf died, did he do much in the movies? I know the movies are a little difficult, but I don't think there would have been much consequence of not having Worf in the 4 movies, unfortunately.
Well, we wouldn't have had that wonderful line, Worf, what are you doing here?
Well, I mean, the problem with the movies was that Worf was already on DS9. Like, it was hard to shoehorn him in.
Right.
But it would have had a huge impact on DS9.
Yeah. I mean, and that beautiful story with him and Jadzia and her, you know, not taking any of his crap, and that was a very good relationship that we wouldn't have gotten. Again, DS9 doing it right with relationships.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
Okay, go.
Well, that started on TNG. We all know where that.
Yeah. Oh, I know who would have been the security chief. Kieran McDuff.
Oh my gosh, McDuffie.
From Conundrum. Yeah. Maybe not.
He had 2 grandiose ideas. He wanted to be first officer.
That's right.
All right, guys. That was super fun. What are your final thoughts?
I love what ifs.
Yeah, you're really good at
You
these.
are good at them, Pierre.
Yeah, I think the potential for spin-off series here is just amazing. Hire on Pierre as a writer, and the idea of the Traveler is actually Jack Crusher, like that is part of my headcanon now, and that's why Wesley is special, and it's like now I'm not as irritated by Wesley Crusher.
See, they help.
And yeah, for sure.
I love the idea of Riker and Troy getting together sooner. So that is now, I'm taking that to the bank.
And I'm so happy my whole issues with iBorg was kind of solved today.
Yay! Win, win, win. Ding, 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 ding.
Oh my goodness. See, it's so good podcasting because you get to have these mind experiments, these thought experiments, and just sort of hash things out in your brain that you wouldn't normally think about. Because I'll tell you what, I wouldn't be thinking of these what ifs. I'm on the scale of creativity, I'm on the lower end. And so I sometimes get a little nervous talking about these what ifs and trying to use the creativity, because I just sort of watch it and see it as it is and move on. So definitely thank you guys for expanding my creativity in my mind.
I'm kind of the same as you, Amy. So, yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Pierre.
Oh, no problem. I enjoy it. I enjoy being able to make it your own and put a little bit of your own imprint on it.
See, and I think the What If series started with you, Pierre.
I thought they started with you, Amy.
No. Well, it probably started with a listener, and then they were on our topics list for so long. And then Pierre, I think you were the one who started the series off. Gonna have to go back and check that out.
Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on today's show and hope you'll comment on our United Federation of Podcasts Facebook page, the Federation Council Chambers. You're welcome to start conversations with us or add any general Star Trek info you want to share with the group.
If you'd like to send us an email, you can email the network at contact@ufp.earth. And we might read your email on the show.
Please hit the subscribe button on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a star rating and a written review. That helps others to find the show. You can also follow the entire network's podcasts with our master feed by searching United Federation of Podcasts. This way you won't miss any of our fine shows like All Good Things with the one and only Amy Nelson, Franchise Fatigue, Always Hold On to Arrow, General Quarters, Mickey's Marvels, Infinite Diversity, and Trek Pod. So, Amy, co-host of many UFP podcasts, what section of the ship can you be found while out there in the universe?
Well, you can always find me in the counselor quarters, because I like doing that. But yeah, you can find me, as you mentioned, Rhea, here on the network, hosting All Good Things with my good friend Patrick Devlin, and really enjoying that because I get to talk all Star Trek and not just TNG. But TNG is my favorite. You can find me out there on Twitter at Miss Amy Nelson, and of course in our Facebook group, Federation Council Chambers. Pierre, what deck will you be on when you are searching for life forms?
I don't know the deck, but I know I'd be near the scanning array. And then I'm also on the Twitters at PLaraco21, and I reside often on the Facebook page for our listeners, the Federation Council Chambers. And Rhea, what deck can we find you on while you are searching for new security chiefs?
Well, actually, there's a security chief, Pierre Laraco, that we could bring on board. He's
I like
also a
that
good
idea.
writer.
Yeah.
Why didn't we think of that earlier? Because we're not the creative ones. Well, when I'm not on our spacious balcony suite on the deck of the cruise ship for the Star Trek cruise,
Woot woot.
I know. You can find me also in the Federation Council Chambers, our UFP Facebook group. You can find me the rest of the afternoon in the backyard, slaving over a hot grill and loving life. You can also contact me at contact@ufp.earth. I, being a pack led, do not have the Twitters or the Instagrams or the MySpaces or whatever else is out there.
That's okay. No one uses MySpace anymore, Rhea.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's active.
Yeah.
Like I don't think you get anything when you type in MySpace.
Oh my gosh, funny.
I'd have to try that.
Incoming transmission.
If you'd like to help us keep all our shows coming to you each week, you can become a patron of the network on Patreon. Visit patreon.com/UFPearth. That's patreon.com/UFPEARTH to get all the details. We have 4 different levels, and starting at just $1 per month, we would appreciate any support that you can give us.
I've been very impressed with how the network is handling our patrons. We have round tables and early releases. It's pretty awesome. So
We love our patrons.
we do.
We would like to recognize our executive producers, Brandon Shea Machala, Ken Tripp, Zach Moore, and Tony Robinson. We would also like to thank Zach Tripp for our opening and closing music, and Tony Robinson for our amazing artwork.
It really does take the whole team to get this Galaxy
does.
class off the ground. Well, thank you for beaming aboard, Galaxy class. And until next time,
When traveling with Jack and Wesley Crusher through various dimensions, stay classy, Galaxy.
Energize.
turn a disadvantage into an advantage.
Engage.
This has been a production of MTMR Media Works.